My mother-in-law demanded a paternity test at the baptism of my daughter. Her jaw dropped when I gave her exactly what she asked for. My mother-in-law Brenda convinced herself that her son Paul couldn't possibly be the father of our daughter because the baby had blue eyes and dimples which nobody in their immediate family had. She started this campaign the day Lily was born. When she walked into the delivery room, took one look at the baby and said, "That's not Paul's child. I know my son's genetics." Paul was standing right there holding my hand, still in shock from becoming a father, and his mother was already denying his daughter. From that day forward, Brenda refused to acknowledge Lily as her granddaughter. She'd refer to her as your baby when talking to me, never my granddaughter, or even Lily. When people asked about her grandchildren, she'd only mention Paul's sister's kids and pretend Lily didn't exist. If someone specifically asked about our baby, she'd say, "Well, Amanda has a baby, but we're still determining the particulars." Like paternity was some mystery that needed solving. She started telling everyone in their family that I'd trapped Paul with someone else's baby. She'd call relatives and whisper about how the timing was suspicious, and the baby looked nothing like Paul. She'd point out that Lily had blue eyes when both Paul and I had brown, completely ignoring that Paul's father had blue eyes and genetics can skip generations. At family gatherings, she'd hold her other grandchildren, but refused to even look at Lily. When I'd try to hand her the baby, she'd step back and say, "I don't feel comfortable until we know for sure." Paul would beg her to stop, but she'd respond with, "If you're so certain, then prove it. Real fathers don't fear the truth." She'd leave pamphlets for paternity testing centers on our doorstep. She'd send Paul articles about men raising children that weren't theirs. She created this whole timeline about a work conference I'd attended, trying to prove I'd cheated, even though Paul had been with me the entire trip. The worst part was how she'd act concerned, like she was protecting Paul. "I just want what's best for my son," she'd say. A mother knows when something isn't right. She'd touch Paul's arm and say, "You can tell me the truth, honey. Did you have doubts? It's okay to admit she fooled you." Paul kept telling her to stop, but she'd twist it into me manipulating him. The breaking point came when Brenda started planning Lily's baptism without telling us. She called the church and scheduled it specifically so she could stand up during the ceremony and demand a paternity test in front of the congregation. We showed up prepared. The church was packed with Brenda's friends and family, all waiting for her big moment. The priest started the ceremony, and right on cue, Brenda stood up. "I object to this baptism," she announced. "This child isn't my son's baby, and I demand a paternity test before this sacred ceremony continues." The church went silent. Brenda pulled out a folder and continued, "I have evidence that this child can't be Paul's. The eyes, the dimples, the chin, nothing matches our family." She turned to the congregation. "Would God want us to baptize a child under false pretenses?" That's when my father stood up. He'd been silent for months watching Brenda torture us, but he'd had enough. "Brenda, you want to talk about genetics? Let's talk about genetics." He pulled out his phone and showed a photo. It was Paul's father in his 20s holding baby Paul. Paul's father had bright blue eyes and deep dimples exactly like Lily. "Your husband had blue eyes, Brenda. You've been married to a blue-eyed man for 35 years. Did you forget?" Brenda went pale, but my father wasn't done. "Here's Paul's grandmother, Dorothy. Look at those dimples. Here's Paul's great-uncle James with the same chin you claim doesn't exist in your family." He kept showing photo after photo from Paul's own family albums that Brenda had somehow ignored. Paul's Aunt Helen stood up next. "Brenda, you know damn well those features run in our family. My daughter has the same dimples. Are you questioning her paternity too?" The priest looked horrified and asked if we wanted to continue. The congregation started murmuring. The priest stepped forward. "I think we need to pause this baptism. Brenda, please leave my church." Full story on channel. Link below.